Hello, world, and welcome to the Doris Hall James Indie Show this evening. This evening, our special guest is Donald Robinson. Donald is a producer, he's an arranger, he's a composer, he's a keyboardist, he plays the flute. What, Donald, what else do you do? Welcome to the Indie Show.
It's a pleasure to be here, Doris. Thanks for having me.
It's a pleasure to have
I really
you.
appreciate it.
The spotlight is on you tonight. It's been a long time. I've been trying to reach you for a long time, but I'm dead set. When I set my mind to do something,
Oh, I know
so
that.
I just keep on, and I finally
Right.
got you here.
Awesome. It's a pleasure to be here. And I just want to say I love your show.
Thank
I
you,
love
thank
everything
you.
you're doing for Philadelphia. It's just awesome.
Yeah, and we're
That's
really
what I like.
trying. We have a lot of things we'll talk about later, but we have a lot of stuff coming.
Okay,
After
okay.
the first of the year.
Mm-hmm.
But let's spotlight on you. Let's go with all the things that you are doing, because
Right.
when I looked at your website, I was amazed. When did all this begin? Though? How old were you when you got
Wow.
into music?
So, I was born and raised in West Philadelphia.
Okay.
Right? 39th in Fairmont. No,
Okay.
36th in Fairmont. Then I moved to 39th in Reno.
All right,
Then I
that's
moved
Presbyterian
to
Hospital.
60th and on Millick Street. Yeah.
Oh, really? You were right
Yeah.
around the corner?
Yeah, it was on
Okay.
Millick Street.
Okay.
And so when I kind of go back and think about it, I think the bug hit me when I was about 13 or 14 years old.
All right.
And I still recall to this day, I remember living at 39th and Reno, and at the corner there was a barber shop called Sam's Barber Shop.
Okay.
And this is kind of, I went back and thought about when did this whole thing happen, and this is what kind of came in my mind very vividly.
Mm-hmm.
So I remember being in this barber shop, and this guy, Sam, the barber shop probably held about 10 to 15 people, no more than that. But he would always play jazz. He would play Coltrane, and he would play Miles and Monk, and that was my first time really hearing that traditional jazz music.
Mm-hmm.
I was about 13 or 14, and I remember just sitting there waiting to get my hair cut and being in the zone and closing my eyes and like, wow, this is great. Oh, listen to
Okay,
that. What
okay.
instrument is that? And it just, it was just a great interest there. Then I remember kind of going in the back, and it was during the winter time, they had the radiators, right? And I would just go on the radiator and act like I was playing the piano, right? And I got my eyes closed and I'm into it, and all of a sudden, I'm listening to the music and act like I'm playing, and I hear somebody say, "Play that piano, little boy." And I like, oh, I didn't realize,
Yeah.
So I ran home, I remember that, and told my mom, "Mom, I want a piano. Can you get me a piano for Christmas?" And, she was like, "Oh, that's a lot of money for a piano." So back then, it must have been the early 70s or something like that. I remember there was a commercial, and they had what they called the Emily Oregon.
Okay.
It's this
Okay.
little box. It was I know y'all musicians know what I'm talking about. And she brought me this Emily Oregon, which is kind of like an accordion. It just played through air, and you would play your keyboards. You press the button, and it had chords here, a C chord, G chord.
Okay.
And I actually started on that instrument. I started listening to records back then, Santana, Earth, Wind and Fire,
Okay.
Buddy Miles, all the great groups of the 70s. And that kind of got me started. Then, each year I got a better piano and a different organ. And
Okay.
but the thing that kind of resonates for me is just the passion that I had for it, even at a very young age. And after I did that, I just knew this is what I want to do the rest of my life. I didn't know how I was going to do it, but I knew I was passionate about it, and this is what I want to do the rest of my life. So that's when Philly had all the local bands. We had Raw Image, we had
Raw Image.
yeah, Frankie Beverly and the Raw Soul before they really got popular. We had Breakwater, we had Soul to Violence, yeah, all of the groups.
Yes,
and
yes.
every weekend, that was during the cabaret season, every weekend it would just be music. So we would just go out every weekend, and all the bands would meet up, West Philly versus Germantown and North Philly groups, and it was a great time to learn.
That was a good time.
So
right.
I took all of that in at a very early age, and I always played by ear first. I didn't know how to read music at all until maybe 10th 11th grade when I got serious and thought I wanted to study music. So I remember listening to, what's the song Santana had, "Oh You Como Va," and ding, 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 ding. Start off with the organ, and I would put that record on until I got it and learned the solo, and I would put pennies on the keys that wasn't the right notes. So yeah, I would take like,
it's different.
You know about music, but I don't want to get too technical. But you know, the pentatonic scale, A minor. There's certain notes you can't play an F or B that just don't sound right. So I would put pennies on those notes that didn't sound right, and I would just play around. And then after a while, I was like, oh, let me take them off now. I know which notes not to play. So it was a fun, exciting time. And I started there playing in the bands, the local bands, Raw Image, moved to Brutus, me, Kenny Murphy, who you had on your show, and Fred Brown, and all of us was there. All of us just having a great time. Rabbit, Meech, just a great band. We had our own little, that's amazing when I think about it. We had all the buses, all the bands had buses. Remember school buses? And we would paint? Yeah. And I'm like, where did we get the money for that? I don't even know how we did that. But
they were great times.
Right, really great times. So it was just a great time to learn. And for me, once I did all of that and played in the groups, I, got a little more serious about it and went to community college, studied there for 2 years. And I remember in high school, my teacher said, well, you're a great piano player, but it's going to be hard for you to get in college because you don't read music, and by the time you do your auditions, you probably have to do a classical piece, Bach, and you're not going to be ready. So he said, you know what? Why don't you play a different instrument? Like, what do you want to play? I said, I want to play the saxophone. And he said, we don't have any saxes. We have a flute. You want to learn how to play flute? Flute. I don't want to play no flute. He said, no, the finger is kind of the same, so you can switch over to the sax after you get it. And I started playing a flute, and I loved it.
Oh, okay.
So I went to school, at community college. Flute was my major. Then I went to, now it's University of Arts, but then it was called Philadelphia College of Performing Arts. Okay. So I think going back to all the different styles of music, and even playing flute, which kind of put me in the arena of playing with wind ensembles and orchestras. I learned more about strings and arranging
and that's
stuff.
What you like.
Yeah, so a lot of that kind of picked up when it came to, okay, now I'm doing more producing. I understand how arranging work. I understand the string instruments, the flute instruments. So listening to like Philly International and all the stuff they used to do, I used to love that. So I used to do a lot of arrangements, learning that way. And then it was a company, after I left community college, I went to University of Arts, graduated, and I was absorbed in music. My mom, I remember, she would say, you need to get out of that basement, all you do is music all day, go do this, go play here, and no, this is what I love to do, this is what I want to do. Okay. And Philly World Records were just starting, a little small independent label. And what I did was went up there, a guy by the name of McKinley Horton and Mike Forte. They kind of took me. Yeah, we were like the three. I can't even remember the name we had, but we the ones who were arranging. I was more the arranger and the producer. Mike Forte was producing at the time, and Brutus actually did their first record at Philly World Records. Yeah, well, not their first record, but we did do a record there. Then that's when I met Nick Martinelli.
Oh, Nick Martinelli.
Who was doing, Stephanie Mills and a lot of people.
Everything
and
at that time.
When he found that I could arrange and do horn charts, he was like, oh, I want you to do some arrangements for me. So I started doing arrangements for them and working for them. And then me and Eugene Wild came in. His manager brought him in, and we have a new artist. But he actually came with the family. His family was like the Jackson 5, but actually it was the Jackson 10, because it was a lot of them, but they all played instruments and everything. And what ended up happening is the record company only wanted Eugene, and Eugene was like, well, I don't know. So he decided, his family was behind him. Look, go for it. We'll be fine. And they were all from Florida. So he stayed in Philly, and we started becoming really good friends. We were actually roommates. Nick was producing some songs. Then one time he said to me, listen, you know, no, this one song I got, I want you to produce it.
That's what Eugene said.
Eugene Wild said that to me. And I said, you sure? He said, yeah, no, I can hear you producing this song. So it was the first song I produced, which was his #1 hit, Gotta Get You Home With Me Tonight.
Yes, that was
so
good.
That's where it all started with
yes.
Gotta Get You Home Tonight, which was the big song, and that just opened up a lot of the doors. And the thing about the music business is it's kind of like a catch-22. That's what I found out. Because I would call, you know, record companies, call up New York and say, I'm a writer, I'm a producer, and they would say, well, what do you have out? And I said, well, I don't have anything out. And they're like, well, when you get something out, call us then. And I'm like, well, how am I going to get something out if you don't give me a break?
Yeah.
So being with an independent label like Philly World and Eugene Record really took off, it opened up doors for me to call them and say, look, I have the #1 song on Billboard, and it was like, come on up.
Come on up. Yeah.
Now they calling you.
That's exactly.
Well, that's how it is.
Yeah.
It's still like that.
Oh, yeah.
You know, it's still like that. You can't hardly get your material on the radio. You just can't, not unless it takes off somewhere else and come back into Philly.
Yeah, and the music business is, I call it the new music business because it's totally different than what it was back then. Back then, you would, you know, if you were a singer, I would say, come on, I love your voice. Let's go up to New York and sit with the A&R guy. Now it's like, okay, do you have a website? Are you branding yourself? How many fans you have? How many videos you got? How many shows you do in a year? And if you don't have that, then they're not really even interested. It's not about just you having a great voice anymore. It's like you have to really brand yourself and put your stuff out there and develop your fan base. Whereas years ago, it was, well, they don't have the budget that they used to have, but they used to have the budget and like, okay, yeah, we'll give you $5,000 to go in the studio, and if we like it, we'll sign you. That doesn't happen anymore.
Well, let me interrupt you 1 second because you just gave some good information, and things have changed drastically, and you talked about they have to, you know, new artists has to brand themselves.
Right.
So that's good for them to hear.
Yeah.
You know, because, you know, before it was totally different where we would go into, we could even walk into a record company or, you know, and say, this is, you know, this is our new material. And they may sit there and listen. But now you don't have any record companies to walk into.
That's
you know, and a lot of things are done in home studios. And some home studios are equipped pretty good and some are not.
Right.
So someone like yourself has a lot to offer a new artist trying to make it through, and we'll talk about that in one moment.
Sure.
Okay. I want to say hi to some of these Facebook fans, or you can say it. Can you see? I mean, I struggle trying to see.
Yeah, that's kind of.
Okay. But that's Matt Green.
Oh, yeah. Hey, Matt.
Hey, Doris, Gil and
got
Don.
Benny, the sax player.
Benny Barksdale. Hi, Benny.
Benny Parks. Matt Green. Jimmy Williams.
Stephen Lancaster.
Yeah, Steve Lancaster.
Jimmy
Steve Lancaster
Williams,
used to actually play with us.
Really?
Played trumpet with Brutus for years. Yeah.
And Jimmy Williams from the OJs.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, watching program.
Awesome.
Paul.
Yeah. Thank y'all all for joining in.
Look, there go your brother.
Oh, yeah. Well, no, that's Steve Lancaster. Yeah.
No. Steve
Robinson.
Yeah,
Steve. I see.
Yeah.
Okay.
I see you, Steve.
What's up, bro?
Okay.
Yeah, so we'll talk about some of those things that me and him are doing also. Putting these packages together for independent artists. If you want to talk about that now, we can.
No, let's finish this first.
Okay. Yeah, so we have, you know, I was just looking at the ones in the blue. I see it's everybody in the green. Yeah, okay. Paul Jones. Thanks for joining. We got Rosa Richardson.
She always joins in. Hi, Rosa.
Awesome. Steve Meyerson, Veronica Underwood.
Yes.
Oh yeah, I got a lot of stories. That's the Philly World crew. Veronica Underwood, Lori Fulton, Del Bergie, Randy Boland.
Okay.
We just used to laugh. Stacy Harcum, I can't forget because he was the clown. He was the one who kept us all laughing. But yeah, just some great times we had. Back then. I see Fred Brown joined. Awesome, Fred. Good to see you, man.
We got Harfez Young.
Yeah.
And we have Winston Gage.
Winston said he couldn't come down your neighborhood.
Hey, Donald, my mother wouldn't let us venture out to your neighborhood when we were kids.
Oh yeah, you know that's back then. That's when they had the moon game and all the different games. And you want to make sure you stay in the right neighborhood. That was one thing about Brutus. We used to get through all that because we're the band. We're the band. Oh yeah, they good. Let them play. You know, but we have been at block parties where there was like crazy stuff going on. We had to pack up our equipment and run out of there. I remember those days.
Okay. Well, Winston remembers them too. And then you got Benny says, "Hey Donald, I hope to do a project
together. Yeah,
it would be awesome."
All right, let's talk, Benny. I'm down, definitely.
And Patricia Windrow.
Woodlock.
Oh, Pat.
Yeah.
Pat, hi. I can't have C, but hello, Pat.
Yeah, it's a little small.
Okay.
I got you.
And Winston again.
Barbara St. Lee. Yeah, she's working on a project. I'm working with her. A great friend of mine, Sanja Hunt. Good to see you, Sanja. And she has this incredible line when it comes to jewelry and things like that. She does. So make sure you check her site out. Yeah. Steve, my brother. What's up, bro? Yeah. Wow, we got a lot of people on here, right? Yeah. Sheldon Price. Yeah.
Oh, hi, Sheldon. How are
working
you?
on his projects, doing some things.
He has a good single out.
He got a nice one out.
And Nobody But You. You know, I really like that, Sheldon. Okay, and then you have Willie Otis. Can you see that? I mean, it's all.
Oh, yeah, I see it. Yeah. Willie, what's going on? Wow, yeah. Lex is, she's one of the choirs that I work with. Okay. She's just a great help, and she's been a blessing to me in a lot of different ways. Good to see you, Lex.
Okay.
Yep.
Then you have Ham.
Who is that?
Ham.
Kai.
Oh, yeah.
Shirley Carter.
Carter.
Dean
Morrow.
Shirley.
Yeah.
So many people. But we want to thank you for all tuning in.
Yeah, we really do.
And we're going to continue with our conversation with Donald. Now, I have something. I was talking to you, and I talked about that there's so many music producers and arrangers and composers in Philadelphia.
Right.
How does your style of producing and arranging differ from theirs? Or is there a difference?
There is a difference. I think every producer has a certain style. I mean, when it's today it's a lot different because back in the day it was a lot of live musicians and a live production going on, where now it's, you got your little drum machine. So sometimes I get people to say I'm a producer, but they're just making beats. They're not really producing records. It's a big difference from how it used to be back in the day. But when you think about people like Quincy Jones, or you think about, even Kenny Gamble and Leon Huff, and then you think about the Motown producers, all of them kind of had their own particular style and particular sound. So for me, it's just certain types of music that I love. I love doing ballads. I love the lush, pretty stuff. I love mid-tempo tunes. That they're the things that kind of come natural for me when it comes to production. So when you think of Eugene Wilde, Vanessa Williams, and Rochelle Farrell,
all those, you just work with
all the stuff that I've been doing, they kind of all fit in that genre of music. However, I mean, I love all styles of music, but they're the ones that kind of really come across where I don't really have to think that hard. It's just naturally, stuff just kind of comes out. So yeah, I mean, I think the style of producing has changed over the years because of if you're looking at what's popular as opposed to just you having a great craft when it comes to producing, or just knowing certain things. I think now technology has set it up where you don't really need to. A lot of the younger people who are coming up, that they were raised on the rap and the hip hop generation, and it's mostly drums, and you got these little. It's more of a vibe than it is actually a song with arrangements and chords and all of those type of things. Now, you still have some of it, but your mainstream, when it comes to a lot of the things that you hear on the radio, are more of your. It's a totally different way of producing a record than it was back.
It's not really producing the way.
Yeah.
You used to produce.
it really depends on the style of music that you're doing when it comes to music.
Well, this is a tune here. Gilbert, can we pull this up? Can we pull this up?
Ooh, hold up.
Okay.
Give me a second.
I'm going to give him a second and come back to this because I want to discuss this here.
Okay.
Well, now can we talk about the different ways an artist can avoid becoming a starving artist? You know, because, you know, they're working and they're trying to do all these things.
Right.
But, like, I remember lots of times they had to sleep on sofas and couches, and they slept in the studio. They didn't have anything. And they were doing that to promote and to record their music.
Right.
But they were starving themselves to death.
Right.
Nowadays, is there any way that they can prevent that?
Well, I think today, and even when you look at people who really made it, first of all, you have to have you know, the passion and the drive needs to be there.
Passion and the drive, okay.
That's key. But that's not all. That's just part of it. Then you got to look at, you know, I mean, marketing and the business side is such a big part of how successful you are. You can have the passion and the drive and be the best singer in the world, but if you don't have someone who's marketing you and know the strategy or have a strategy of how you want to do things. And that's one thing when I think of the creative process, a lot of artists are very creative, but when it comes to the business side, it's like, I'll get somebody else to do that. And so I think you have to have a little bit of both. To answer your question, how do you not starve yourself? For me, it's you just got to be a chameleon. I play the piano, I do lessons, I produce, I write, I do music consulting, I do workshops, you know, teaching people about the music business and the steps, and talk about what is songwriting, what is producing. So you have to look at ways of branding yourself and not just get stuck in that one hole. If you just focus on a gig every now and then, that's no way it's going to work for you. But if you're writing, if you're producing, if you're playing on the weekends, if you're giving lessons, you got to look at all the different things that you can get from music and not just the one thing that you want to do. One of the things it made me think about is I just think a lot of people aren't really committed to, they don't really have that drive to do that. So what I mean by that is that there are people that I meet who they want to do a lot of different things, and they say to themselves, well, if this works, then I'll do that. But for now, you know, I'm working here, I'm doing this. And for me, it's like, if you really have something to fall back on, you pretty much, when things get tough, you're going to fall back on it. Right. And you're never going to get to that point where things start escalating. I mean, it's going to be
makes sense.
Mountains and peaks. And,
that makes sense.
But if you have something to fall back on, most times you're going to just say, that's too hard, let me go here. And then you're going to get tired there. Oh, I'm tired, but I don't really want to do this. And you're going to go back. So you're going to keep flip-flopping back and forth. And, you know, it kind of reminds me of sometime when you have groups that play in the same circuit all the time. Well, you can't really grow and get out of that unless you try some new things. But what happens is it gets comfortable. You're like, well, you know, this is working. I'm making a little bit of money, so I'm fine. Now, I mean, it depends on where you are and what you really want to do. But if you're like, no, I really want to go to the next level. I want to play in different cities. I want to actually have records out where people are buying them. Then that you have to really strategize. And if you can't do it, get with somebody who can help you do that. Yeah, so that's been my experience.
Let's go run back here because he has this on, and I want to talk about this young lady and the song that you wrote for her. Okay.
Yeah. So you want to talk about it now?
Yeah, she's on. She's up there.
All right. There we go. Stage, So Mary Cross is an artist that I'm working with. My goal is to work with one artist once a month. I want to put out an artist once a month. And Mary Cross and I have been friends for years. She has a sound that's kind of like a Phyllis Hyman sound. So we wanted to do a record where we, pay homage to her. So we had Mary do the song, and when I heard her voice, I heard that Phyllis Hyman thing, and I said, you know what, let me kind of do a song because, I had the privilege to work with Phyllis Hyman. And I could tell you, let me tell you a quick story about Phyllis Hyman. You got to hear this before I go
we're ready. Okay.
So I remember working with Phyllis Hyman. I did the song for her called Sacred Kind of Love. And, you know, Phyllis was going through some things then. She was kind of in and out of depression. And she, I took her in the studio and we started working on the song. And she was singing it, but I knew it was something that just wasn't right. And I said, can we do it again? And she would do it and she would kind of stop. And then she said, oh, you know what? I just hate being in the studio and singing with headphones. I love singing live. I wish it was a way that I could just get a live vibe. So as a producer, and that's the thing about producing, you really have to be creative because everybody that you work with is different. You have some people who are shouters and screamers and you got to really push them to do it. There's some people, if you do that, they're going to back up and, you know, you got to really talk to them nice. So it's almost like, you know, you got to really be a psychiatrist to a certain thing.
Different
because everybody's different. And as a producer, your goal is to bring the best out of them. So going back to Phyllis, what ended up happening is she said, you know, I wish I had a live audience. So I went out and got 10 guys. I set up 10 chairs. And she was in the studio singing. I had 10 chairs in front of her. And they were, of course, you would come to, I'm doing this recording on Phyllis Hyman. Are you kidding? Definitely, I'll be there. So they all came, and they're sitting there, and Phyllis loved it, and she sang the song like she never sang it before. So, you know, that's going back. That's a, you know, as a producer, you got to really look at the artist and see what really works for them. And so going back to Mary, what happened was we focused on that song because for me working with Phyllis and kind of getting the idea what her style was, we end up doing a song, and she really did a great job of singing it. She's been getting a lot of great reviews. And what's been fascinating for me is that, you know, you would think the older crowd, 40 or 35 and over, would love her, but she's getting a lot of young people who are oh, I love this music. I miss the sound. I wish it comes back.
Song.
You know?
It's a beautiful melody.
So it's like an R&B kind of classic
This is really
soul.
A nice song.
Yeah, so I'm doing that on her.
Beautiful voice. And Mary Cross will be joining us the first of the year. You know, January, February, she will be on the show.
There you go, Mary.
And we will be playing her a cut from the CD. Is it this coming week?
I believe it's this week, right?
Okay, we'll be playing
and love
this CD. This is on Philly Live Radio on the top program at 7 o'clock on Tuesday. If you tune in, you will hear a sneak preview of this song. We'll be the first one to play it, okay, on Philly Live Radio. Beautiful song. Okay.
Awesome, awesome.
Okay.
Yeah.
So while we're on that, tell us who you're working with now, besides Mary.
So, you know, I've been doing a lot of live playing with Gerald Veasley. We does this thing called Unscripted Jazz on Thursday nights down at South, and I've been playing with him a lot. And it's a wonderful thing. We kind of bring in these jazz artists, and we don't really rehearse. We just kind of do a sound check, and it just goes. And some really well-named artists are, so Kim Waters, and just some really great artists that come through there. But my love and passion has been, you know, producing and writing. So I'm looking at ways to get back to that. So one of the things, even starting with Mary Cross, is the things I want to do is look at all the indie artists out there who really wants to have a passion for music and is committed to doing something. And once a month, I want to feature a local artist in the Philadelphia area. So that's what I'm working on. There's a couple of other ones that are coming up that I'm working on, and I'll mention those to you a little later. But my goal is to get back into the production side. So I put together a package, my brother and I. It's called an MVRP package. And that's music video recording package, where I want to take indie artists in the studio. We lock out a time. On a Saturday, I have the studio for the whole day, and my goal is to take like 5 artists in. I'm going to work with all the music before they get into the studio, and work with all the musicians. We get the music together, and everybody has a time slot where they come and actually sing their songs. My brother's going to shoot a video, and that way they can walk away with a really quality package, have a song, and I want to kind of keep that going. And who knows, we might do like a mix record. We may do some shows and things like that. But as I listen to different artists talk about what they want, are the struggles that they have in the studio. I hear a lot of them talk about, well, I started on a song, but I can't find the right studio, or the producer, their studio closed down on me, or I didn't like working with this musician. So this package is mainly, listen, you come and sing, I'll put all the stuff together for you. I'll get the musicians, I'll get the studio, I'll make sure it's a quality song, and when you come in, your goal is just to sing your heart out and enjoy what you do.
Now this is what your website offers.
Yes,
so
it's on my website.
They can go to your website. It's Donald Robinson
Studios.com.
Studios.com,
Yeah.
Right?
Yes.
And all this information is there.
Right. So what they would do is go on my website, DonaldRobinsonStudios.com, fill out a quote request, just basically just saying what your needs are, what you're looking to do. I will look at it, I will get back to you, give you a call, and then I'll give you more details of how we can make it happen. But yeah, they go to my website. They can actually, if they want to sign up for the package, they can actually sign up on the site right now. But what I want to do is kind of get an idea of who they are, what they're looking for, and how can I help them get past that hump. Because I've talked to people and it's been, you know, oh man, I had my tape for like 3 years or 5 years. I know it's a hit song. I know it's a hit. I got to get it done. And, you know, I see them 2 years later and it's the same story. It's still not done. So this is a way that they can actually have it happen. And I'm trying to do like a 1 to 2 week turnaround time to make it happen. So it should happen pretty quickly. If they don't have songs, I'll end up creating songs for them also.
Are you bringing in musicians to actually do this, which means you're hiring them too?
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
Right.
So go ahead.
As far as that goes, do you find it more satisfying the way that you did it in the past? How you put the music together?
This is Gilbert talking, you guys. He's in the back, but he's talking.
Yeah. For me, you know, I love the live instrumentation. I love the organic sound. I love that. So this package would be more for like people who are doing classic R&B. It could be jazz. It don't have to be a singer. It could be a sax player who has a song, or a trumpet player. It could be an instrumentalist. It could be a gospel singer. Someone who really wants live music. And that's the thing. That's when they do that, or when they look for it, they can't find a right musicians, or sometimes it's just too expensive.
Yes, it
so
is.
This way, if I take a group of people in at one time, the price would be a lot cheaper. I'm doing 2 different type of packages where if they pay the rate all the way out, they can pay a full-time rate, or they can do payments. Yeah, and then they'll get the tape when they'll get the song after all the payments are made. But it's all on my website.
Well, yeah, and that's amazing, because when I looked at it, I said, oh, these are the different things that I can sign up for, right? That's
right.
Oh, I got this. So I thought that was amazing. That was good. And a lot of artists need that. They need your services because they really don't know.
Right.
They don't know where to go. And you can, you know, we've had artists in here trying to produce them, and some we did a good job and some we didn't.
Right.
You know?
Right.
Sometimes the producer wants something that the artist can't give, or the artist doesn't know how to give, right, Gilbert? And so when so if you had someone to sit down like you did with Phyllis Hyman and said, well, what do you prefer? And she said, our live audience. And as soon as you gave her that, you know, so they just need some kind of direction.
Yeah, some type of direction.
Yeah.
And as a producer, well, one of the things for me is like the song is number one. You got to have a great song, no matter what you do. Michael Jackson was known for recording like 60 songs before he would pick the 10 that would go on his record. So, because the whole thing is, it starts with a great song, that's number one, and then you got to have a great artist who can really bring that song to life. So the chemistry between the song and the artist is key. Okay. And as a producer, our job is to not say, here's my song, you sing it. No, you sing it this way. It's more of, okay, Doris, let's get together.
Yes.
I'll play the piano. Let me find out what key you sing the best in.
Okay.
Let me
B
find
flat.
out where that part of your voice is the sweetest spot. And it's a tailor-made for you. I create a song that's works for you by finding what key you're singing, by finding, are you more of a sultry singer, are you a Patti LaBelle gutter, are you, and all of those dictate how you produce a song
Okay.
and what you get. So the key is to look at these artists. If they fill out a quote request, that helps me get an idea of what type of singer they are, and even if they have a tape where I can hear some things, I can get a better idea of what's the best strategy, what's the best way to take them. Because sometimes, you know, they know they want to sing, but they don't know how to do it or how to get there.
Okay.
And it's a whole difference between singing live. That's the other thing. Singing live
And singing
in the studio is
the
totally
difference.
different. Like Phyllis, you know, the thing for her was like having those headphones on and really hearing yourself back. Sometimes subconsciously it makes you kind of close up because you just want to sing. But when you have those headphones on, it's a wholly different. So you got to get used to that.
And when you're talking, see, I'm ready to sign up now. Okay, so I'm going to get back there and I'm going to sign up. But I was looking at this here. Someone else here I want to sign up to. And that is, hi, Johnny Croom, Herb Smith,
Johnny.
and Allie Hackett. Hi, Sadie Campbell. Oh,
The crew.
she's here.
Yeah.
Denise, I think I want you to sign up too. Patricia Atkins.
Oh, yeah.
I want to sign. And then I want Pat to sign up. Where did Pat go? I don't know. Yeah, there she is. I want Pat to sign up too, right there.
There you
But
go.
anyway,
Yeah.
you know, because that's some good stuff you're talking, and you take all that time with
Right.
us, and we should be fine.
And I think that's the key is really the chemistry's got to be right between the producer and the artist to get the best product out. And sometimes, you know, you have egos flying and people trying to tell you how to do this, or so sometimes you can have the best singer in the world, and just because of you know, the chemistry between you, it's not going to work out.
Yeah.
And it has nothing to do with talent. It has more to do with just the way that you vibe together.
Yeah.
It's so important. Yeah.
Well, you know, you have a new single out. It's instrumental,
Yes.
and it's
yeah.
called "Never Giving Up."
Never Giving Up.
Right.
Yeah.
Now, what promoted you to do that song? Because when I
Yeah.
heard it,
Mm-hmm.
I heard it was instrumental,
Right.
but I heard all kinds of melodies on top. Remember,
Okay,
and
right.
I asked you about the melody, right?
Right.
So why did you do it instrumental without putting a vocal on it? Tell me about this.
Yeah. So it's more of a kind of a funk kind of jazz thing.
Okay.
And by me being a piano player, and you know, this is my first time actually putting something out myself. I mean, I
Okay,
have
all right,
so many
okay,
songs, and I want
okay.
to kind of keep that going.
Yes,
So,
yes.
you know,
Okay.
actually playing at that restaurant South, there's a lot of people, you know, they hear me play, oh, when are you going to put something out yourself? When
Yeah.
can we get some of your music? So I decided to start with that song and make it an instrumental because, you know, I'm going to do a video for it, and it's kind of really just featuring me playing as a pianist and doing some things like that. However, I mean, there's plenty of songs that I have vocals. So, and you know, I'm down for doing remixes.
Yeah.
You hear something to that song, let me know.
That's
you know,
that's a
you
nice
know,
song. I was
we
listening
can
to
do
it.
something. Yeah.
Listening to that this morning because I
Okay.
called you this morning.
Mhm.
I said this is a good song.
Thanks. Yeah. So yeah, my goal is to, for myself, as far as an artist, you know, there was now one of the problems that I have, well, challenges, I won't say problems. One of the challenges that I have is because I have so many different songs. I have R&B, there's jazz songs, there's gospel songs. Putting them, when you look at how do you put them all in a package and make them work. The thing is, in the music business today, we live actually more in the single world. People are buying singles. So even on the internet, because now, remember, a lot of your cars don't have CD players anymore. The computers don't have CD players. Everything is on their phone. People are streaming everything. It's people are listening to singles. They're just grabbing stuff that they can listen to really quickly. So even when they go to iTunes, that one song they might pick out, it may just be that one song, and they might just download that one song.
Yeah.
So we can do a lot of different things that we couldn't do in the past. We can put out singles. They can be different. It's just a thing we have to do is kind of brand the song and tell a story behind it. But I think now we live in we're at a place where we can be more diverse than we ever been before.
Because remember, we used to buy a whole album just to get the one song.
Yeah. Right. And the albums back then, what I loved about them also was that they were concept albums. You know, the whole album kind of fit in the story when you think about Earth, Wind and Fire and their sound and things like that. Where now it's a lot different even on that side, where we still can make those albums, and there's still artists who do that. But you have we live in a world now with the internet, people are just doing things really quickly. I want to grab this, I like this, they go to Spotify, they go to iTunes, and they're just grabbing a lot of singles, and they make their own playlist. They put their own little album together of all the different things that they like. So what I want to do is just put out some stuff. Just put out all these things that have been in my head. Like I'm telling the artists that if they need a record to come to me, I'm at the same place. I have all of these songs where I just want to put things out and just see what happens. I want to put some stuff out for Christmas. I got all these Christmas songs. So the goal is just to put music out. And the key is, like I said, you really got to brand yourself. Let me just say this to different artists too who are putting out CDs. What a lot of them don't realize is that the process before you even put a CD out, you should actually start marketing before it's out.
Yeah.
Anywhere from 4 to 9 weeks before it comes out.
Okay.
Because there are so many things that go on records that people are not aware of. See, they think, okay, we do it, we put the CD in the package and sell it. No. There are all kinds of codes that have to go on records. If you want your song to go on the charts, Billboard, SoundScan, you know how you see the barcodes on the back of records and things like that? But there are codes that are actually now embedded, digital codes that are embedded in your records, so they can tell and see how the record is doing. And if you do it the right way, your CD can actually end up on the Billboard charts because they have independent artists now on the Billboard chart, so you don't have to be a major artist, but they want to see that the song is getting traction. So even that type of stuff that I'm teaching when it comes to music consultant, what's the best way to do your record, what's the best way to put it out, how do I make sure it has all the things on it that it needs, all of that is so important. And a lot of times we don't take enough time. We take all the time in the studio to do the record, and then we want to throw it out there real quick. And what happens is we sell it to,
the
99 people also who want to get it, and then nothing. And we have 1,000 CDs and they're just sitting in the basement. So there's a way you have to really strategize that before it comes out. What you can do, one of the things you can do pre-release, let people know that it's coming out, where they can actually start buying it before it comes out, and you can take that money to actually work on your project as opposed to it coming out and then you doing it. So iTunes have a thing set up where there's pre-release, and you can buy it now, and when it comes out, you'll get it. That way the artist can pay for the studio and the musician things that they need to do. You can start branding it, and you can start telling all types of stories about the record, how you wrote the song, get really people hyped up. You can have people help you with the title. Hey, I got this track, here's a little snippet of it, what do you think? I got these 3 titles, which one? So the audience now can get more involved in the whole process of you doing something before you put it out. And then when it comes out, they're even more excited because they feel like they had a big part of work on it. So there's a lot of strategies for putting a record out now that you can do that wasn't there before. And it's important that it's done.
And, it makes a lot of sense, because when people buy into something that you do, then 90% of the time it'll go over. If they figure they had a buy-in. Well, I helped wrote this title, or I gave them the lyric for that, they'll feel like they're involved in your project.
So it could be buying it, and it also could be, for me, I have a company called SOW Productions.
Okay, what's that?
And that's Songs of Wisdom. So for me, when you think of Never Giving Up and those type of songs, I want to get back to the songs where we had songs that actually had integrity, and songs that talks about being positive and
a message,
and love. When you think about the Stevie Wonders, Love's in Need of Love Today, and Donny Hathaway, a lot of those songs are classic because it's not just the music and their voice, but it's the stories that they tell that made it a classic song. And I think we kind of moved away from that. We don't hear a lot of that, but I think people are thirsty.
We don't hear it, but
right.
when we hear the songs we used to hear, you know, we say, "Oh my God,
right.
you know, what a good message this was."
Right.
You know.
Right.
Well,
and I think it's a way you can do without being too preachy and everything, and it could be done in all genres of music. It may be just more the title, like I did Never Giving Up. Mainly for me, it was like, okay, I finally got the CD out because I never gave up. I just decided, so I titled it that because
great.
That's where I felt I was at the time of doing the record.
That's great.
Yeah.
Well, now you're doing so many things. You know, you're still producing. You're doing your own thing. One good thing is that you are doing your own thing. You know, because lots of times we stay in the background too long doing things for other people.
That's
too
so
long
true.
doing this and that.
Right.
And we never come to the forefront, to the center stage, and do things for ourselves.
That's true.
So now that you're doing that, that's fine and that's good.
Yeah.
And then you also have initiative to reach out to others and help them along.
Yeah, I love
so
helping
and they're gonna enjoy that, because there's a lot of artists, like we said before, don't know how to do this.
Right.
Okay.
Right.
Now, do you do workshops on a monthly basis or as needed? How is those workshops coming about?
So the workshops are done more once I get it's just a certain amount of people that have to sign up for the workshop.
Okay.
So I do this one workshop called From Beginning to End.
Okay.
And that focuses on the creative side of writing, and it also talks about the business side. So it's a 6-week workshop. The first week we'll focus on songwriting. So I might take 5 people in the class. Okay, you play drums, you sing, you do this. So we actually do hands-on things where we'll talk about songwriting, and somebody got to come up with a hook, and we'll talk about what a hook is, and we'll talk about an intro, song structure, things like that. And then the second week we might do one on how do you pick a studio. What's the best way? What studios to pick? How do I know if the engineer is good or isn't? And what happens, I've seen people get in a situation and like, oh, these people don't know what they're doing, and I'm paying them all this money. So we talk more about.
I'm out of here.
We talk about that. Then we'll talk about finding a great engineer. Then we talk about, okay, after all the process is done, finding a great producer. And then the last week is, okay, now how do we market this and put this out? And some of the things I just talked about, we talk about those things. And we actually do the project together, and then we actually put it out on like iTunes
and
or
how
something
often
like that.
are those workshops offered?
I'm going to be offering it again in the spring, in March.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
For me, it's like, when I have so many different things going on, I have to be careful of not doing too many things.
I really, really know, because it's just a whole lot of things that we all do. As you said, we do a lot of things, to survive, to keep ourselves in the music business, and most of those things have to do with music.
Right.
Now we put on event for Winston Gay on October 29th.
Okay.
From our 501c3. And that was amazing. And it was a very good event.
Awesome.
And it was sponsored by Raymore and Flanagan.
Wow.
And it was a sold out. It was sold out. And, we were in the store with all this fancy furniture and all these bright lights, and it was a good turnout. Winston did a great job.
Okay.
And I am looking forward to doing that kind of thing again.
That's nice.
Like an intimate setting.
Right.
So now that's on my brain to try to get done. Plus all the things that Gilbert and I do.
Right.
So when we talk about being busy, we are busy.
Right.
But we're always there to help.
Yeah.
So all those things are good. And that's the things we do to keep surviving, so we won't starve to death, right?
Yeah, you go. That's it. You got to be committed. You got to look at all the different things that make the wheel turn. I think that's so important. One of the things that I just want to say, I don't know how much time do we have.
You have some more time, because we have a couple more minutes, and
all right.
we'll check this.
Is when you say all these things we do, what is it?
Oh, okay. Turn to the camera.
Okay. What is it that really stops artists from not being successful.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I think we need to talk about that to a certain extent. What is it? And you know what I think it is? A lot of times people don't really have enough confidence in themselves.
Yeah.
That's a big piece of it. And because I hear a lot of, well, I can't do that because that's going to happen and this is going to happen.
Right.
And if I go down that road, I don't know. So it's like not having enough faith in what they believe in.
That's
not
right.
being confident. And I've seen so
Negative
many
people
just self-sabotage their own career
Yep.
because of how they believe. And a lot of it really is your mindset and how you really approach what you're doing. I mean, even for me, and you know, I put myself in some of these categories because putting a record out for the first time, yeah, I know it can be scary. But once you really jump out there and you do it, you'll be surprised of how much energy to give you to kind of keep moving and moving in the right direction to do some other things. And it's never as bad as whatever you put in your mind.
Yeah.
It's never as bad as you think it's going to be. It usually turns out to be a really good situation. So, you know, stay positive. You know, focus on you know, having faith in what you do. And, you know, God is a big part of my life.
Yes.
And I just thank him every day for all that he's given me and all that I'm doing, because I know I couldn't have it without God, and I really want to put that out there also.
Now I want to read some of this if I can see it. Harfez said, "So true, my friend. I've seen it all too. Technology took it over. Shelton Price said, "Donald Robinson is one of the greatest producers ever."
Oh, thank you so much.
Willie Otis Lemons joined. Hi, Willie. Oh, here we go again. Egypt Marie, thanks for joining in. Fred Brown joined in. Sandy Sykes joined in. Willie Otis joined in.
Yep.
Sandy said hello, Doris and Donald. Rosa, same
Sammy.
thing. Hello, Doris and Donald. Ron Taylor joined in. Sonia D. Hunt came back in, and she says, "Thanks, Donald, for the mention for Glaze."
Oh, yeah.
Okay. Carlos Raleigh joined in. He says, "Hey, Don, you're one of the best arrangers in Philly. I'm currently laying tracks on my keyboard for my CD. I'm going to put out in the spring of 2020.
Awesome.
It's all love ballads." Doug Grisby
is trying to help me with installing Logic Pro X to make my time shorter. Okay.
Okay.
All right. Good.
Okay.
Yeah. And a lot of times you really got to find a mentor or somebody. If you can't do it, find the right person who can help you wherever you feel like
That's
you
right.
know you need that help. When I think of people like that, the first person that comes in mind is Grover Washington Jr.
Okay.
Having the privilege to work with him, he was not just an incredible sax player who wrote incredible music, but he was, when we were on the road with Grover, and I'm going to make the stories kind of short,
That's okay.
there was, he would push us in a way that I don't think would have ever been pushed. There are times when we would have sound checks and he would be playing like he's on the show. There's only one person. There's nobody there. Grover, why? We just going through the song. Just, you know, get ready for the night. But he's just, every time he played, he would just ooze out with so much energy. And we all learned a lot from that. And he would always push us to be the best we could be. And one of the things that I remember is still, I can hear him saying it right now. He said, "Yeah, I'm doing my thing, but when you going to do your thing?" He would always say that, "Okay, I got mine, you know, you on the road with me, but when you going to do your thing?"
Right.
He would always push us to be better at what we did. And I was with Grover all the way up until his last show that he did, which was a devastating thing for me at the time. We were actually on the morning show. It was a Saturday in December. And everybody else left. We drove up from Philly to New York. Everybody else left. And Grover was there. And I was the only band member, I think, who was still there because everybody went back to Philly. So I left my music in the room that we recorded in, and Grover was in the green room. And I said, "Oh, let me go get my music." So when I went back, And I went back towards the green room. It was a hallway, and his manager is standing out the hall, and he's just staring in the room, looking down. And I'm like, what in the world is going on? So he said, Grover just collapsed. He was literally tying his shoe, and it just fell over. So I'm like, what? And I go in the room, and Grover's laying there, and I just jump on my knees and start praying, Lord, please, the people came, and they're trying to revive him. And then his manager said, listen, there's nothing you can do. Take his horns, put them in your car, go back to Philly, and we'll let you know what happens. So I'm driving from New York on the New Jersey Turnpike, and I'm listening to the radio, and I hear, I think it was Patty Jackson, or it might have been Butterball at the time, said Grover Washington just passed away. I'm like, what? I got his horns in my backseat of my car, and I'm driving back to Philly, and I just had to pull over. I couldn't believe it. Then, the calls start coming in. My wife called, and, everybody's like, can you believe what happened? And, but I took that time, and it really made me think about just how much of a great person he was. Actually, when I got married, he actually proposed to my wife at a show, and he actually played and came down the aisle and did the whole thing for me. He was just that type of guy who was just incredible. So going back to finding a mentor, somebody who can help you really kind of get past that place where you are, where you just feel like it's a ceiling and you can't go up. That's what mentors are for. You got to have a mentor, somebody who can really push you to be the best you can be. And sometimes you just need a music consultant who can do that for you. Because we all get stuck. We all get at places where we just can't go on. But yeah, he was an incredible guy. One other quick story. I remember we called it the Burning Bus Tour. We're driving all the way up in Colorado, and we're coming down the hill, 5:30 in the morning. These hills are really steep up in Colorado. I think we were doing the Aspen Jazz Festival. So we're coming down the hill, and all of a sudden, the bus driver gets off the bus. He runs towards the back, and it's like 5:30. The sun's just coming up. We're like, what's going on? And he's like, run back to the front. Everybody, get off the bus. The tires smoking. The tires smoking. So, these big tour buses. Everybody, get off now. I can't put it out. So he sprayed it with some type of spray, and it made the tire caught on fire. So we getting off the bus, the whole bus goes up in flame.
Oh, no.
A $350,000 bus. We're standing on the road just looking at this bus go up in flame, and we're like, are you kidding me? Everybody got all their stuff off. Everybody was fine. And then we go to, they call these vans to come pick us up. So they take us to this old folks home, right? And, we're in this old folks home, and Grover pulls his horn out and start playing. And you got all of these old people dancing around, having a great time. And they got a little upright piano, and I start playing the piano. And it was like the best thing ever for them. It was like, you got to make You
made it into something, right?
Take that bad situation and make it into a good one. And, we went to breakfast, and I said, listen, guys, we got to thank God for this. It could have been a whole lot worse. You just don't know. So it's you got to find those people in your life who can push you and really help you to be the best you can. So if you need help, I'm here. Go to my site. If you need a music consultant, I'm here to help you do that also.
Okay.
Yeah.
And Donald, that brings us to the end. It goes by real fast.
Yeah, it does.
And anyone we didn't respond to, Donald's going to respond to you. He's going to get on here and he's going to respond.
Definitely respond.
But he has given us a lot of good information. And Carlos, if you're doing your song, those of you who are planning to record, this is your man. And the website again is
Donald Robinson Studios. That's with an S. DonaldRobinsonStudios.com. Go in there, fill out a quote request, let me know what you need, and I'll definitely get back to you and try to help you as much as I can. All right?
And next week on the Indie Show, we're going to have our guest is going to be Carl Cox.
Oh,
Carl
that's
Cox?
my man. Yeah.
You know,
Carl
I've
is an
been reading
incredible sax
about I've
player.
been
Yeah.
reading about him
And a great
for
educator
months.
also.
Yeah,
Yeah.
he teaches.
Yeah, and he plays down at South with us sometimes too.
And the
Yeah.
other day, he just blew my mind. The other day, I
All
was talking to him. I was texting him, right?
Yeah, Carl.
And I was saying something about I needed to talk to you. I needed to talk to you. He said, "Well, look, I'm running. I got 20 minutes. I'm getting on. I got to be on a cruise or something like that
Right.
with Smokey Robinson."
Yeah.
I said, "What?
Yeah.
Why
What?
you say
Smokey Robinson?"
Smokey Robinson, yeah. Go to
And
his
I said,
Facebook site. You'll see all the stuff, and he plays with Incognito.
"Oh my
And
goodness!"
he used to have the group D4, who was an awesome group from Philly. Yeah.
I mean, when he,
Yeah.
I said, "Oh my goodness!" I don't
Yeah.
even know if I hung up the phone or whatever it was to him.
Right.
But he's gonna be our guest.
Incredible sax player. He has his own group also.
Okay.
They sound incredible. Yeah.
Okay.
Great guy.
So join us next Thursday. We're going to have a conversation with Carl Cox.
Yeah. Mhm.
And then before we go, I want to say that on Tuesday, through Tuesday is the 12th, I believe. We're going to be featuring some of Carl Cox's songs on
Right.
Philly Live Radio. So
Awesome.
you can join us at 7 o'clock and listen to some of Carl's stuff, okay?
Yeah.
All right. So I want to thank all of you for coming out tonight
It's a pleasure
and
to be here.
and being with Donald Robinson, and he has given us some good information. And let's call him. Let's call him. Okay.
All right, Doris. Thank you so much for
Thank
having me.
Thank you
You're
for
doing
coming.
a great thing.
Thank
Really
you.
appreciate it.
Okay,
Yeah.
love you, Don.
Love
Thank
you
you.
too.
Yeah.
We're out.
All right.
Listen to the artist of today.